Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, you're too much of a nice guy. Well, I'm going to get into what a nice guy is because I've actually got an email here from a guy who basically did just that. He was too nice to a girl to the point where she stuck him in friend zone and basically told him the reason was that he was too much of a nice guy. So we're going to really get into it. What does that mean? What does that look like with obviously a real world example that a guy's going through? And so the important thing to remember, I would say the lesson to take away from this is really what she's saying is that when you're too much of a nice guy, in other words, what the woman is basically saying in a nice way is, hey, you basically don't have a spine and you don't stand up for yourself and you don't stand up to me, and therefore you in essence don't act like a man is supposed to act. You act more like a woman is supposed to act than a man is supposed to act. And as a woman wants a guy who acts more like a man than she does. And in this particular case, obviously, she's been acting more like the man in the relationship, and she eventually got tired of it. Women don't want to be the leader. It's kind of like the video that I did yesterday where we talked about that leadership energy, failure to lead. And this one's going to be along the similar lines. And so the quote I got that I want to share is from Dr. Seuss. And he says, "Be who you are and say what you feel, because those that mind don't matter, and those that matter don't mind." And so in essence, what's really going on here is this particular guy has modified his behavior because he's more concerned with how other people will perceive him and react to him than he is being comfortable being who he really is. And so there's a difference between acting because you want the approval of other people and acting like yourself regardless of whether or not you're going to get the approval of the other person. And so if you live your life according to other people's expectations, or always hoping and trying to win the approval of others or the attention of a girl that you like, so to speak, in essence what you're doing is you're going around prostituting yourself. You're going along with things that you don't want to do, or because you think it's going to get you something in the end. And like the guy we talked about yesterday, he met this girl and things started off, there was obviously some interest there, and he could have taken things to another level, but instead he just kind of hung around, and he went from being this mysterious, interesting guy to a dude who was basically looking for somebody else to be the leader. He was more of a follower. And women would rather be the follower. They'd rather follow you along on your amazingly interesting and fascinating journey in life. They don't want to be the ones figuring out and discovering this journey. They would rather share in your journey and the vision of your life. And so we're going to get into, let's just go ahead and jump right into his email. He says, "Hey Corey, after watching almost all of the how to get your ex back material off the internet, I find your videos. After seeing them, I wondered what the fuck I was doing and why it took me so much time to find you." Well, you saved the best for last, obviously. The internet, the universe decided to save the best for last, and that's when you came across me. And so you can see all the other bullshit out there that doesn't work or that you can spend tons of money on before you even learn anything. And I give you the best stuff that I've got right off the bat, and you can apply it, and when you apply it, you see that it works, and that's why you come back for more help and more answers on other topics other than maybe just learning a pickup line or trying to find a really great job or become healthier. It's about being a well-balanced man who knows what he wants, who says what he feels, and just like the guy that we were talking about yesterday, if he gets bored with something or a woman's not treating him the way he wants to be treated, he's going to leave and he's going to go about his life. But it's like the moment you don't do that because you're worried about losing the attention or the affection of the girl, that's when you've already lost. Because now instead of just being who you are and allowing her to appreciate your magnificence, you're no longer being magnificent at being you. Instead, you're kind of hanging around on her like a servant would, or a butler, or somebody at a fucking day spa, or the gay male girlfriend who's wanting to relate with her and bond with her emotionally. It's going to be a turnoff when you go down that path, with any woman for that matter. And so he says, I don't know whether to be enlightened or bang my head against the wall for being stupid. And I actually sent you a message on Facebook, your fan page initially. Well, by the way, it's like the best way to get a hold of me is to email me through my website, because I very rarely check those other social media. I just use those to post my quotes or post links to the articles and the videos that I do. So the quickest way, if you got a burning question you want to get in touch with me, I'm still about 2 to 3 weeks out with questions. So if you're going to email me a question, you're going to be waiting for about 2 to 3 weeks. I answer them in the order that they're received. So he says, I read your book twice, and now I'm going for the third time around. I also stay up late to watch more of your videos, and I'm writing things down so I can read them at will. It's good. You write down notes, obviously things that are important or things that you're like, wow, that was a brilliant piece of wisdom. I mean, I read every time I'm in the process of re-editing my book, and I wrote it about 7 years ago. And every year, so I thumb through it, and it's like I'm amazed when I read through it. It's like, man, I don't remember writing that. I don't remember saying that. It's like, I mean, it's like I've forgotten more things than I know in a lot of cases, because like you study this stuff for so long, and you study. I mean, I've been studying self-help and practicing this stuff for over 2.5 decades now. So he says, to make a long story short, I had a 1-year relationship, and from my point of view, things were going great. Well, usually that's how guys perceive it. And he says, complacent me. Girl was madly in love with me. She had her own place, but after the second date, when we had sex, she just never left. Sometimes it starts out that great. When you really know what you're doing and you can love the other person in such a way that they feel free, what's amazing is you can meet them and look in their eyes, and you know they want you, and they know that you want them. You can arrange a date, or the date can start right then and there on the spot. And it's like you're always together. And it's effortless and magical that way, but you've got to be willing to let that person go off and go and do their thing instead of chasing along after them at key moments, because when they sense that being with you is really no different than being by themselves, other than the fact they get to share in the awesomeness of you. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that you don't try to possess them or control them or get them to commit. You're just simply being awesome when you're together and having a great time, hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. And when that is done and they've got to go off, go back to their place or whatever, hey, call me later. And then they get in touch and they call you later, and then you're arranging the next time the two of you are going to get together. And if it's so easy and it's so effortless and you're both in the same wavelength and you've grown to that place where you've literally become the kind of person that you want to attract, you won't be able to get rid of them. They'll be there. It'll be easy to be with them. I can't stress that enough. It'll be easy. But the more you waste your time and stay hung up on the past, kind of like what this guy is doing, which we'll see here in a second, the more your life, you see a struggle like this. You see things not working out. And so the more you stay involved with people that are a struggle, or things aren't going well, or maybe didn't work the first time or the second time or the third time, it's eventually, what's helpful about getting an ex back when you're able to do it is that you get to have the experience of being with them again. But 9 times out of 10, what always ends up happening is you realize that what turned you off before, it's still there. And so eventually you get turned off, but you're able to end the relationship on your terms, as opposed to always thinking, oh God, what if I'd have done this differently? What if I'd have said that? What if I'd have tried this? It's like you don't walk away, you're actually able to walk away with peace. So he says, I didn't want her to leave either, and she dumped me for another guy that she had lined up, and she says she wants to be friends. Oh, in case she decides she wants to take you back if the other guy turns out to be a douchebag, which more than likely he probably will, because the average guy doesn't know this stuff. So he says, I didn't agree with it, but I did squirm for a few days, begging her to come back. Well, begging, it definitely never works. Obviously, it didn't work because you wrote to me. I'm psychic like that. So he says, she told me that I'm too much of a nice guy, and I now know what that means. It's, yeah, because at the end of the day, she wants you to be the leader. She wants you to be the man. And basically, at times when she tried to see if she could push you around and jerk you around and get you to change the plans or go along with things that you really didn't want to, the more she saw that you were willing to do that, in other words, that you weren't willing to stand up for yourself, I mean, deep down, that causes a woman to not trust your masculine core. Because if she was ever in any real physical danger, if you won't stand up for yourself, I mean, you're not going to stand up for her. And that's why it's such a turnoff, because women want the man to be their protector, their rock, their mountain, their source of masculine strength, that nothing can diminish you. And even if you're fearful, you'll still go after the things that you want in life despite of your fear. And that's what's sexy and that's what's attractive, because feminine energy, being unsure of yourself, that's a feminine quality. And that's one of the things that women love about us guys is our purpose, our drive, our mission, and going after the things that we want in life. And when a guy doesn't do that, and he just kind of sits there and he takes verbal put-downs or verbal abuse, and he just kind of laughs it off, and he doesn't say, hey, because, I mean, at the end of the day, if a woman treats you well, you reward her with your time. And if she's a bitch to you, or she's nasty, or she refuses to communicate like an adult when you've asked her numerous times in a sweet, charming voice, then you get to the point where it's like, hey, you know, I don't like the way you treat me, so I'm out of here. Call me later when you want to be nice to me. And you might have to do that at times. It's just women have to know that if they push you too far, you'll walk and never look back. And for the nice guy, his problem is that when she pushes him around, he just goes along with it because his behavior is all approval seeking. The only reason he's really doing it and biting his tongue is because he thinks it's going to get him what he wants. But what the woman really wants is she wants you to stand up for yourself and be who you are and say what you feel. And if she was ever to mistreat you, that you would fucking haul ass and never look back. I mean, at the end of the day, because she wants a guy who has respect for himself. And so therefore, when you let her walk all over you, it communicates that you don't have any self-respect. And if you don't have any respect for yourself, then why the fuck should she have any respect for you? I mean, think about it. It really is common sense when you look at it from that perspective. So he says, I'm trying to stay away from her, although I still check her Facebook account. Okay, so you're stalking her on Facebook. It's like these are all like little behaviors that a guy who's successful with women and who perceives himself as a catch, he would never do this bullshit. He'd be on the next girl. He'd be like, hey, all right, great, I fucked up. You know, lesson learned, time for me to move on. But this is all like needy, pursuing type behavior, and this is indicative of what has caused you to get stuck in the friend zone and cause her to line up some other dude and blow you off for him. So it's like you've got to stop all of this bullshit type of behavior. He says the thing is that she helped the company I work for to get financing from the local authorities for some projects. And she wrote and put all the paperwork together but made me project manager. We were together back then when all this took place. He says, I have to contact her once or twice in this regard, and I kept it short and to the point, although she did want to know private info about myself. So she starts asking, I just say, hey, well, it's work. I'm really busy right now, but if you want to chat, maybe get together for a drink later, shoot me a text or call me and we can meet up. That's what you say when she starts digging and want to know personal things after you've handled the business. Throw that out there to her. Just say, well, I got to run right now, but I'm really jammed up. But why don't we get together and catch up? Shoot me a text or send me a phone call later, and we can meet up sometime. Maybe grab a bottle of wine, come on over to my place, and we can hang out and chit chat if you want to catch up. And then that way, she's coming to your place. You can hang out, have some fun, maybe make some dinner, and hook up together. Because it'll be on your terms. And if it's not on your terms, if she wants you to meet her out for dinner, this or that, and you don't want to do it, just say, hey, I'm in the mood to hang. I'm kind of busy. I've been really stressed this week. I had a lot going on. I just want to chill. So if you want to go to dinner and that whole production, then give me a call in a week or two when things die down a little bit, and we'll plan something in. Be willing to walk away when she's not willing to go along with things that you want, and that's the problem. For too long, and way too many instances, probably thousands of times since the time you met her, and you should think about that. Thousands of times you've been gone along with things that you really didn't want to. And so you've taught this woman, you've emotionally conditioned her to believe that that's the way that you're going to be. He says, so what do I do now to mix, so basically what you do at this point is you walk and you never look back. And when she gets in touch with you, assume that it's because she wants to hang out, have fun, and hook up. So arrange that. That's the best thing you can do. And then go out and start meeting other women in the meantime, because she's with another guy. For you just to sit around and wait on it, you're not going to energetically and vibrationally put yourself in a place where you can meet somebody new if you're still kind of harping on the past or what didn't work out. The best thing is to move on, because you should say, I want to find somebody who wants to be with me, when I'm myself, she won't leave no matter what, because she'll like me. She'll think I'm charming. She'll think I'm cute. She'll like the way I talk. She'll like my weird idiosyncrasy. She'll be in the same kinds of habits and hobbies that I'm into. Because what's going on here is, at the end of the day, this relationship was not what it could have been. It wasn't as awesome as it could have been had you been prepared for it. And so the way you got to look at it, instead of saying, oh, no, I lost something, you should look at it and say, this woman really just helped you prepare because she's ultimately what brought you to my work. And so what I always tell guys is you're either going to get the X back or you're going to get somebody 100 times better. So either way, it's a win-win. That gives you peace of mind. And so the idea is that you got to, when you interact with women, you want to treat them all the same. And so from this point forward, you should treat this woman that you screwed up with like any other girl. If she reaches out to you and calls you, you should assume it's because she wants to hang out, have fun, and hook up, right? So do that. Arrange a date. If she won't arrange a date or she gives just some static of I can't do this, just say, great, when you figure out your schedule, give me a call. And then when she reaches out to you next, assume it's because she figured out her schedule. If she reiterates the friends thing, I said, I told you, I'm not interested in being your gay male girlfriend. We can be fun. We can hang out. We can be lovers. It's like we can share our secret worlds, like Fergie says in her song. But I'm not interested in just being friends only. And so if you're telling me we can't have what we had before when we hang out, then go hang out with this other dude or anybody else you want to. And when that doesn't work out, give me a call. I'd love to see you. I'd love to hang out and have some fun. But I can't do the friends only thing. It doesn't work for me. That's all you got to say. But the problem is you're never going to get to that place if you keep going along. And because I know what you're doing, it's like you got this thing with work and business that you have to be involved. And so you look for reasons every couple of weeks to get in touch with her, or every couple of days, or whatever it happens to be, sending her an email, and you bullshit yourself going, oh, no, this is really work-related stuff. I really got to send her this long 2-page email. And it's just, there's like, only 25% of one of the paragraphs is about work, but everything else, it's like it's got to. That's what guys do. They bullshit themselves and believe in all this nonsense, and you keep doing this approval-seeking behavior, hoping things will change. And what you really need to do is just say, hey, this girl's not willing to show up and treat me the way I want to be treated, so therefore, I'm out of here. I'm going to go find somebody who is. When you have that mentality with women in general, not every woman is you're not going to get every girl. They're not going to be exactly what you want. But if you do this enough, you get into the habit where you're willing to walk away from chicks when it's boring. You just don't like hanging out with them. And the sex might be great, but they're just not a lot of fun, or they bore you, whatever it happens to be. You got to get used to moving on to the next thing, because when you get caught up in mediocrity, it's just like getting caught up in a shitty, mediocre job. The people like, hey, I took this job to pay the bills, and 15 years later, they're still there. Same shit, different day. It's like, you don't want to do that. It's like there's enough people in this world that are doing that are fucking miserable. You can go to the mall. You can go to any fucking restaurant and go to any public place for that matter and watch all the overweight, miserable, unhappy people that can't stand being with one another. I mean, there's a lot of them in this world. Most people major in minor things, and so you don't want to be one of them. The average person tends to settle. And just like Dr. Seuss said, be who you are and say what you feel, because those that mind don't matter, and those that matter don't mind. So if you'd like to get my help, personally helping you stand up for yourself, take control of your career, take control of your life, take control of your dreams, take control of your health, take control of your body, take control of your finances, whatever area of your life that's giving you some trouble, that's out of balance, out of whack, I promise you, I can help you. Go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking a paid phone coaching session. And I will talk to you soon.